I've seen 3 dead bodies in my life, and each one of them has left a mark on me and who I am. And each one has left a very different, permanent mark on who I am. When I was 23, my grandpa died. I remember going down to Adelaide for the funeral and seeing him in his coffin and seeing that he was at peace. That kind of beautiful sleep that people romanticize when someone dies. When I was growing up, my mum always used to say, if you ever see a dead body, don't touch it. It's kind of a funny thing to say to someone, but she was really adamant about it, like it was something that was important to her, and she needed to prepare me for this in life. She would always say, just don't touch them, it's not them, don't do it. And I remember thinking that as I looked at my grandpa. And I didn't touch him, but as I said goodbye, I touched his suit, just over where his heart would be. And I remember feeling this penetrating cold coming out, and it wasn't so much the cold as just an absence of heat that shocked me. Within the next year, my mum would pass away after a long, pretty fucking tough battle with cancer. When my grandpa died, we told ourselves comforting things. We said, he's with grandma now and he's at peace, and we had these warm, hopeful little things to hold on to that we would say for ourselves. And we said the same things when Mum passed, but they were different. She was taken too soon. It's a tragedy. When she passed away, I was sleeping on the cot next to her bed. I got woken up by the nurse who told me that she had passed, and I remember thinking that I had missed something. I had stayed up late writing lists for things we would need to do for her wake, people we would need to invite, tea, coffee, wine. And there's this part of me that thinks, instead of doing that, I should have laid next to her and I should have held her hand and given her that warm glimmer of hope. When I was little, she used to hold my hand and stroke my hair and sing all the pretty little horses to me. And in that moment, I would have liked to give her the same thing, but I didn't. I was asleep. And we did tell ourselves, she's at peace. And we got comfort from that. 7 months ago, I was at a bottle shop buying a $60 bottle of wine. I was trying to impress a friend who was going to cook me mussels. My brother called me and told me that Dad hadn't turned up for swimming lessons with my brother's daughter and that he wasn't answering his phone. He said, don't worry, I'm going over there later to fix the internet or the phone or something that was broken. But there was part of me that knew that I had to go over now. And I told him I'd stop by, it was no hassle, I was headed over that way anyway. And I still bought the $60 bottle of wine because I needed that little glimmer of hope that everything was going to be okay. And as I bought the bottle of wine, my mind kept saying, no, 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 no. And as I drove over to the apartment, my heart was just turning over saying no, 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 no. And as I got up and went up in the lift, my whole body was just shaking and my mind is racing and I'm just thinking, no, 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 no. And I opened the door and I walked into the apartment. When I was little, I used to play this game where I would sneak into the house and my dad would lie in front of the TV and I'd walk up and I'd grab his feet and surprise him. And he'd turn around and yell at me and say, "Oh, you bloody idiot." And I'd run away and think it was the best game ever. Probably went on till I was 25. And I walked into his apartment and I called out, "Dad." And I walked into the room and his feet were sticking out of the end of the bed. And I grabbed them. They weren't cold, but there was an absence of heat. The thing we don't realise about human skin is that its most fundamental nature is its warmth. And once we lose that, it doesn't feel like skin anymore. I ran out of the room and I called my brother and I yelled down the phone. And I'll never forgive myself. I just yelled, "He's dead, he's dead, he's dead, he's dead, he's dead." And my brother just said, "What? Why are you calling me? Call an ambulance, do something." And I realised he wasn't there and he still needed that glimmer of hope. I called the ambulance and she talked me through CPR. And I kept telling her, "He's gone. I want to stop." And she kept saying, "Do you want to stop?" And I'd say, "No, no, no, no." Because I couldn't stop. I needed to believe that there was something left that could be done. And in the closed up room, my hands started slipping off his chest as I made the compressions. And my sweat and my tears and my snot ran down my arms until the ambulance turned up and told me to stop. I'd like to say that I have some glimmer of hope to give you, that I have some nugget of wisdom that's come from these 3 deaths. But I think there's a part of me that's cold. I think there's a part of me that has become closed off. But I think we can move past that. And maybe that's not the way it has to be. If there's anything I've learnt from these 3 deaths, it's that nothing is permanent and that life will always surprise you. Thank you.